Well, I don't normally do the same topic in 2 bits, but I did used to blank these things out. And in fact, something I've talked about on another video, I had a girlfriend called Chris in the year 2001. We lasted just over a year. And she abused me on Tuesday the 20th June 2000, both physically and sexually. And what happens is, I now know from that occasion, I can remember the beginning, and there are other occasions actually. I can remember the beginning, and the beginning was that she was being very emotionally abusive in bed. And I got out and said, I'm going home. I was in her home, 30 or 40 miles from mine. And of course I had no clothes on, I was in bed with her. And she pinned me in a corner with my arms above my head. And she was bodily between me and the door. And she said, you're not going home. I had not been drinking, I had not been doing anything that would affect my mind. But the next 3 hours were a complete and utter blank. Next time I looked at my watch, it was 3 hours later. And I was fully clothed and I was sat on the edge of her bed with absolutely no idea what had happened in between. And she, of course, wouldn't tell me. She just said, there's something wrong with you. Well, yes, there definitely is extremely severe post-traumatic stress, according to a psychotherapist called Merja Jenkins. Merja, she's Finnish. She called it extremely severe post-traumatic stress, by which I assume she meant complex post-traumatic stress. Anyway, that is what happens on occasions like that, even in adult life. I remember the beginning, I remember the end, and the bit in the middle is blank, for the most part. So, most of my father's childhood abuse was not close to the surface of my mind. Just weird things. Like him sending me to bed as a punishment, and then coming to join me in bed, which my mother didn't seem to think in the slightest bit odd, but most people would have thought that very odd. You send a child to bed because they've been naughty, apparently, and then you go and join them there. And what I remember then is he would lay his pipe on the windowsill by the bed. And that would be the beginning. And the end would be me saying, oh, you've made the pillows all uncomfortable, and oh, you've untucked all the bed, and it was so nice and comfy. That kind of thing. It's again remembering what happened as a preliminary, and what happened after, but very, very little of what happened in between. And I mean, by the time I was 18, and I was taken to a carol service in Trafalgar Square, all I could do was weep when the carols played. And I didn't really know why, to be honest. I knew that Christmas had been, awful every year. But I didn't really piece it together. It's much easier to talk about what's happened to other people. I don't know whether I want to find out what happened at Easter before I die or not. Because, Christmas was dead to me long before my father murdered my mother at Christmas. That was his coup de grace, of course. It's absolutely been a dead zone since then, and that's 26 years ago. But Easter triggers me every year without fail. The one time I can remember escaping that trigger was when I said to a travel agent, I want to go abroad for Easter and I want to go somewhere where they celebrate Easter in style. They really make a big deal of it. She said, I've got the very place, Torremolinos. And I thought, Torremolinos? Isn't that where all the Alagalaos go? She said, oh no, not at that time of year. They call it Santa Semana, and it's all religious. That was fine with me, absolutely fine. Although Catholic, I'm not too fond of the Catholic religion, but I've had Catholic friends, and I have to say, my best Christmases and my best Easter were spent in Catholic countries. That was the only year that I have avoided being triggered at Easter that I can think of. Because they did make a very big deal of it, and it was on the right side. As far as I was concerned, it was on the good side, not the evil side. And I even went into a little chapel there, and I prayed. You don't have to be a committed Christian to pray. Or if you do, then I'm a committed Christian because I spent a lot of my life praying. I don't know what happened at Easter, not exactly. But it must have been bloody bad, because it triggers me every single year, without fail, except for that time when I spent it in a very religious environment abroad. If it triggers me more badly than Christmas, and I was sexually abused every Christmas morning, and my father murdered my mother at Christmas, which did happen, what the hell did he do at Easter? And do I want to know before I die? All I can think is that as a Satanist, he inverted everything Christian, that is. And Easter is the resurrection of Christ, isn't it? Well, I would assume that he would have inverted that as well. But I can't, apart from absolute terror, and I am terrified every Easter, I don't know what he did. Oh, of course, he did murder Fiona on Ash Wednesday, the first day of Lent, but I'm talking about Easter. And in fact, quite often the worst day for me is not the ones you might expect, i.e. Good Friday and Easter Sunday. Quite often it's Easter Monday. I don't get that at all. But that will be the day that I will really blow.